So this is a process video of a T-Rex drawing I did the other day that was roughly a half hour long, and I have it sped up to about 8.5 minutes for you. As an artist myself, I like watching these process videos of other artists, so I figured I'd post it. It's nice to see how one gets a drawing to come to life. And I found recording my own artwork process videos, I'm able to replay and see where am I faulting, where am I going wrong in some art processes, and maybe some ways to streamline and make myself even better. Think of it as like a sports player watching the tape on their game. So this is me watching the tape on my art game. I'm just trying to learn and get better so the next time I draw, I can improve. So if you were to film yourself in your process, what are some things you'd want to improve? For me, time. I always want to make my sketches quicker, faster, and more efficient. Try to cut out the waste. I also want to make sure that they're as accurate as I can be as far as anatomy or whatever the item is that I'm trying to draw. So how have I gotten better throughout the years at getting faster and more accurate at drawing? Well, for one, I call it the stick figure stage, but I try to draw the dinosaur or whatever I'm drawing evenly as a whole. So I don't get too detailed in one particular area until I feel like I have the whole composition figured out. So that way I don't have to spend time drawing or redrawing a foot because I decided to move it because I spent more time rendering it than I needed to. That's wasted time. So I'd rather move it while it's still in this stick figure build stage. Another thing I've picked up over the years of watching myself draw is I've wasted a lot of time rendering stuff that might be in the shadows of a dinosaur or wherever the shadow components. So a lot of times just putting in these quick lines to indicate where the cast shadow of something's going to be, it can eliminate me maybe putting in like a lot of details, because at the end when I put markers over the top of it and I go darker and darker, those dark spots sometimes are almost black. And so if you spend time drawing scales in those areas, you're just wasting time again. I personally don't draw every scale. I try to generalize and make texture with all my movement of my lines. So that's also helped. I just get the illusion of like wrinkles by just having a loose pen mark, but you do you. I mean, that's how I've gotten my style, but it's also a caveat of me trying to draw really fast and really not erasing much, because why would I need to erase if I'm just going to go over it multiple times in multiple layers? So I feel like it gives texture to the background and the drawing and the dinosaur itself. So unless I need something pristine and smooth or white, then I'll use the eraser. But for the most part, I just let all the structure lines kind of live there. Once I get to the coloring part, as far as speed goes and time wise, and try not to waste as much time as I can, I start with the darks first. I block in the shadow as best I can, and sometimes I have to go back in and add more shadow, but I try to make sure that I get the dark areas in first. That way I'm not adding detail to a spot that I'm just going to turn into shadow anyway. So that's why I try to start with the shadows and then add color. Another thing to note when adding color is white is very rarely seen in nature. So having white is really reserved for highlights, and that's about it. That's the only time you see white is when you see reflected light off of a surface that's really bright. So you want to save white for your brightest object, which is usually that. Which means I want to blanket cover the dinosaur with a generic color like a light blue or a light green or whatever color I decide, just to get some sort of like color on the dinosaur to start with. I've been going with a tan belly and a green or blue like scale top for most of my drawings recently. Depending on which marker I grab first is how I kind of pick it. With alcohol markers, you're able to kind of blend the markers together. So whether you start with a brown, a blue, a green, or whatever combination you decide, they usually meld well together, and the more layers, the better the skin color looks, at least when you're drawing dinosaurs. So I may have started with a tan or a brown on this drawing, but I know I'll add pops of color like blue and green and even red at some points. I like to add the color after I add the grays though, because that way I know, do I really need to waste time coloring this color on the area that's going to be black anyway? So I save some ink by waiting, and I save some time also by not coloring an area that's just going to be in darkness. So if I'm assessing my game tape here of this drawing, I'd say this drawing is actually going pretty well. I've been pretty good at all the things that I usually focus on, making sure I draw the whole dinosaur and coloring in the dark spots in first so I don't waste ink. There really is not much I can improve on this one, but it is also good to reference and see what am I doing well and just getting a good check-in point, hey, is this working? And is there anything else that I can improve? So for me, I think I've kind of plateaued. As far as the dinosaur drawing and anatomy, I'm pretty good at that, and even the marker drawing. But one thing I need to work on is composition and background. In particular, maybe trying to add a second dinosaur into a drawing. For me, it's tough because with 30 minutes, I really only have enough time to get one dinosaur on paper. But if I have the ability to, it'd be nice if I added a background here and there. For me, most of my drawings I do on computer paper, which is great for practice, but I'm probably at the point where I should start thinking about doing it on better paper. And if I do it on better paper, I should probably make it more of a official piece, like a finished piece, and have a background and more of a game plan in mind. So if you start seeing less videos out of me, maybe I'm working on bigger projects that just take a little longer. But for now, I like doing the quick hitters like the computer paper drawings. They're quick, easy, and it's pretty much all I have time for at the moment. But if you are learning, I would suggest maybe drawing on computer paper too. The next best thing would be to draw on a computer, because then you don't have to worry about art supplies, because your colors will never run dry. And you don't have to clean any brushes, or wash your hands after rubbing a bunch of chalk all over your drawing like I am here. It is good to learn without the undo button though, so drawing in real life on paper is probably better for a beginner, because you could really rely on that undo button a little too much, and I feel like the best way to learn is to fail a little bit. Plus, if you're drawing on paper, you don't have to worry about battery life and being connected to a charger. Alright, so I might have rambled on a little bit here, but the main concept of this video is if you're able to record yourself and watch the tape, you can at least pick up on some things you might be able to improve on. Whether it's improve on time or wasted parts in your process, you're able to see that in real time. Even if you can get 5% more efficient than you were the day before, that's going to compound eventually, and eventually you'll be even better and better than the previous day. So it's worth taking notes and looking at what you can do better each time. Otherwise, you'll never improve. And we live in a day and age where it's easy to record ourselves, so you take advantage of all the technology that's out there. If you got anything from this video, please consider hitting the like button or follow or leave a comment. It all helps the algorithm. Thank you for watching.